Okay, section 6.4 is where you're going to be solving systems of equations of word problems. So you have to set up the system of equation before you can solve it. So let's take a look at the first example. You have a piggy bank with 65 coins consisting of nickels and quarters. You have $7.25 in the piggy. How many of each coin do you have? The first step I would suggest is defining your variable. So what are we trying to find? It says how many of each coin. So I'm trying to find how many nickels and how many quarters. So I'm going to let X represent the number of nickels and Y represent the number of quarters. Now there are some people that like to use the same letter as what they're trying to find, so it makes it a little bit easier to remember what they are. So if you prefer, you could use an N here and a Q there. The next step is where you want to write your system of equation. And this is the tricky part. So you want to utilize the important information that they give you. So the first thing they give me is I have a total of 65 coins. So anytime they give you a total, I know that's going to go at the end of my equation. Then I look at what kind of label is on there. I'm doing 65 coins. So both of these are going to represent my number of coins. So X is going to represent number of nickels. So I'm just going to write X plus Y because that's going to add my nickels and quarters to give me my coins. The other important information is the total, $7.25. Again, my total is going to go at the end. That $7.25 is a dollar amount. So that's a good indication that I know that both of these also have to be dollar amounts. So since my nickels are represented by X, I'm going to put the nickel amount that it represents for a dollar here. So I'm going to put 5 cents there. And my quarter amounts are the Y, so I'm going to put the quarter amount of dollars for that, so 25 cents there. Now I'm ready to solve. So in step 3 is where you can actually start solving. And it is your choice on how you want to solve it because we do have 3 methods. I would not encourage to do graphing just because of the fact that it's the probably hardest in terms of finding an exact answer. But you could use one or the other of the other 2. So I'm going to use elimination. So I took this top equation and I multiplied it all by negative 0.05. Then I added my y's and added my constants and divided and got y to equal 20. So then I went back and plugged in 20 up here in my top equation and subtracted and got my x value, which is 45. It's crucial you know which one is which because you have to put labels on these. You can't just write it as an ordered pair. So I would write 45 nickels because x is my nickels, and I would write 20 quarters since y is my quarters. Okay, let's take a look at another example. This one, it says the sum of 2 numbers is 51. The smaller number is 9 less than the larger number. What are the 2 numbers? So first I'm going to go ahead and represent my 2. So I'm going to put x as the smaller number and y as the bigger number. So then I'm going to start looking at what the important information is. So I underlined here, the sum of 2 numbers is 51. Remember, sum means I'm going to add. So I'm going to add my 2 numbers, and where I see the word is, that always represents an equal sign. So this statement right here is actually setting up what my first equation should look like, and that should be x plus y equals 51. Then the next important information is over here. It says the smaller number is 9 less than the larger number. Well, once again, where I see the word is, that's going to be my equal sign. And then 9 less than the larger number, it means that I'm going to subtract away 9 from what my larger number is, and that's represented by y. Then smaller number was represented by x, so that's why I would write x equals. So my second equation should look like that. Now, my preference in this case is use substitution because I have a solved equation. If you don't prefer that, you could move your y over just by subtracting y. However, I'm going to go ahead and do substitution since it's set up for it. So remember, substitution means I'm going to take this solved equation and I'm going to plug it into my other equation for that variable. So now I have y minus 9 replacing the x. I still have my plus y and then equal to 51. So now I'm going to start solving. So I combine the y, so I got 2y, and then I'm also going to add the 9 over here, so I got 2y equaling 60. If I divide by 2, I found that my bigger number has to be 30. So then I can take this and plug it right back into my solved equation. and subtract 9 from 30, and I got 21. So my two numbers then I would write as 21 and 30. Okay, so now let's take a look at the last example. On the last example, it says, at a pet store, you buy 2 cats and 5 dogs for $66.25. You go back tomorrow and buy 4 more cats and 3 more dogs for $60.75. How much does each animal cost? So first step is defining our variables. So we're trying to figure out how much each animal costs. So I'm going to let X be the cost of cat and Y be the cost of dog. The next step is we want to set up our system of equations. So here's my first part. I have 2 cats, 5 dogs for this amount. So that right there is speaking what that equation is going to look like. My total is going to be the $66.25, and then I'm going to put 2 times X and 5 times Y to represent my 2 cats and my 5 dogs. Then my other important information that I underlined was the 4 more cats and the 3 more dogs for $60.75. So in that case, I'm going to write 4x, 3y, and then my total is $60.75. So in this case, where they are giving me specific objects for a total, they are laying out what those equations should look like. Now my system is set up. So now I can solve by substitution or elimination. I'm going to go ahead and do elimination because I'm just going to multiply this top equation by -2 since this was 4 down here. So I took that top equation and multiplied by -2. The bottom equation I did not change. Now if I add together my like terms, I get -7y equaling -71.75. And then I'm going to divide and I get y to be $10.25. Then I'm going to plug it back in to find one of my other missing values. So I plugged it in for the top equation. I'm going to multiply the 5 and 1025. I'm going to subtract over that 5125, and then I'm going to divide by 2. So remember, you have to write it out in terms of what each one is. So in this case, I found X is my cost of cat, so cost of cat is $7.50, and Y was the cost of dog, so that's going to be $10.25. Now I understand this lesson is challenging, and the reason it's so challenging is because you have to write the system of equation from scratch. So just take your time, don't get frustrated, and make sure you continually ask questions because we will help you.